On Bike Rebellion this week, I spoke to Vic Tello. Vic is a San Diego native, an endurance athlete, a bike commuter, an artist, and an organizer of cycling and running clubs. In this conversation, we talk about mental health and the biophysical benefits of living active lifestyles. We talk about bike infrastructure, riding aggressively, bike choice, and how to get new riders up to speed safely. We also talk through tactics and strategies on how to grow and organize the various tribes that make up the cycling community, and how we can support businesses that support us. We met Vic on April 16th, 2025 at the North Park Community Park with the iconic water tower as our backdrop. Enjoy. Welcome to Bike Rebellion. This week we're interviewing Vic Tello. He is a local bicycle organizer and advocate, and is the founder of Nice and Easy San Diego, which is my favorite social bike ride in San Diego. Vic, would you introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about yourself and what brings you here.
Thank you. First of all, thanks for having me.
Of course.
I'm here from San Diego. Went to school here in San Diego as well. Like you said, I come from an athletic background.
Cool.
Everything from swim teams, MMA, to triathlon, ultra marathons, and I guess throughout my 20-year journey of sports and competition, I've narrowed it down to more of the fun part of training, the fun social aspect of training with other athletes and the community alike. I've taken it upon myself to grow the cycling community here in San Diego more.
And the running community too, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I've taken kind of like a project. We all have projects, whether it's a car project or a home project. I've taken this upon my own personal project to grow the cycling community here in this awesome already cycling community in San Diego, North Park, and see where we can see where the limits are.
Yeah.
It's been a fun project so far. And it just ideas keep getting.
It's awesome to watch it grow because I think I went to the first Nice and Easy that I at least attended was probably 2 years ago, something like that. And it was already pretty big. And it's just grown since then. A lot of the times we're riding with 150 people, around San Diego, which is an accomplishment. And that's, it's super fun. And the crowd is always great. But so Nice and Easy is basically it's a social ride. It's, primarily it's on Instagram where you sort of get the word out, and then we basically do a ride around town, 10, 15 miles, hit a couple of bars along the way, support a couple of local businesses, and just really meet friends, meet new people. That's really what I take away from it. I've met so many cool people on those rides, and just the community building aspect of it is really powerful. So, what do you do for work?
I work for General Dynamics. I'm an electrical detail planner.
Okay.
So I work on board Navy ships stationed there in San Diego.
Okay.
And I've been there for about 25 years.
Wow. Wow. Okay.
Started on my tools, and throughout, I was an electrician, I was a welder. I got to experience going on board Navy ships, going out to sea for several weeks at a time.
Yeah.
Now I'm primarily in the office.
Okay.
And I go on board ship time to time, but mostly an office boy nowadays.
Okay. So you're doing the the designs and stuff of the ship. Wow, that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I work on boats too, so we're both sort of in very different places of boats, but it's to do things on that scale is scares the hell out of me. Well, I'm working on little 40-foot boats, and those are complicated enough. I can't even imagine on a big ship. So Next thing that we usually like to address is why do you bike? A lot of people have different reasons. You know, your experience uh, in sort of sport and racing and stuff like that, I'm sure is started you out, but probably doesn't sustain you in sort of the biking that you do now. So what are your top three reasons why you bike for transportation?
I bike for transportation. Three reasons I bike for transportation. I'd say even first and foremost is mental health.
Uh-huh.
Um, I've struggled with depression and anxiety throughout my life. And as most of us have some degree of stress and anxiety, but uh, it's been a it's been a complicated journey for me, especially in my early 20s. And when I discovered endurance sports, I found that endurance sports is really something that kept me steady.
Kept you tired too.
Kept me tired. It was just rolling all those good chemicals, the serotonin, the dopamine, um, and I just found this great quality of life with endurance sports. Not just doing the sports, but afterwards, the day after, the hours after, my mood was better. And my mind in general, my mental health in general was better. Obviously, your physical health is going to feel better. Um, so that's reason number one.
Yeah.
Uh, Reason number two is I was always competitive in endurance. Well, being a triathlete and an ultra runner and a cyclist obviously is part of my training. So it's an easy way to kind of train and then you at the same time.
Yeah.
Killing two birds in
Yeah.
one stone. That's the second part. Third reason is it's just biking around town. When the community sees you biking around town, when the community sees someone biking, whether it's just one person or two people or 100 people, it it creates like a domino effect where people say, "Hey, if that kind of looks fun, maybe I should
Totally.
to work for one day, or
Yeah.
maybe I should look into getting that bike I've been wanting to get.
Yeah.
Maybe I should, when the community sees a bunch of friends rolling down the street, smiling, having fun, it just kind of switches a light switch on other people that are watching.
So the community building aspect for sure, and just sort of getting more people doing it, and that's I started out doing it for environmental and financial reasons, which I mean, there's so many reasons that we could sit here and go through, and so many advantages to it. And um, I think mental health is it's something that I didn't really go into it understanding how much that affected your mental health, because you're sitting in a car, and here in San Diego, where I was driving from Point Loma to North Park, you're sitting in traffic for 45 minutes, and you'll stop and just have the lights cycle, and you'll just be sitting there in a rage, or at least a lot of people would be. Whereas on a bike, we can just bypass all of that and usually get there quicker. And um, just that alone, let alone all of the the serotonin and the physical exercise for me has been super important. So those are the sort of reasons you do it. The other advantages that you see of life by bike that we haven't addressed yet. The physical, mental health aspects of it. Briefly the financial, but uh, would you care to talk about any sort of additional effects that you notice in your life? Just advantages of riding your bike versus driving a car?
Sure. I'm privileged to work just 5 miles away, about 5 miles away. So I know everyone doesn't have that privilege. I know people that work 20 miles away. So
If you design your life in such a way, you can do it. But yeah.
and I take priority in making sure that I live in a bikeable distance to
Yeah,
work.
me too.
I've lived in various places in San Diego, and like I said, I've worked here for 25 years. So I've lived like when I was living in PB and Ocean Beach, I would take that 10, 11 mile trek every day. And you get used to it. Sure. You get tired, you get home and you have no more energy for other activities. You have no energy for other friends and family. You kind of just want to eat a lot and lay down and, you know, and rest up because you got to do it all over again. But I love that cycle. I love being tired from biking.
Save money on gym memberships too, right?
Yeah, I mean, I still have a gym membership. I still go a couple times a week, but I'd rather be tired, physically tired, you know, than stressed out all the time and road rage on traffic.
Yeah.
Um, Gas, sure, the financial part. I save a lot of gas, and yeah, I bike 20 miles each way.
Yeah.
If I had to.
Yeah, I mean, I generally ride an e-bike now, which makes it easier for me because I'm usually carrying a lot of stuff. But yeah, I think there's definitely an upper limit to non-athletes of about 10 miles. What's reasonable, um, and it depends on the town, depends on the topography and whatnot. But proximity is definitely a challenge for certain people that we all make adjustments in our lives, and that's one that I've made. I used to live in North County and drive 40 miles to work, and that was just a nightmare anyway, and I would never wish that upon anybody. Um, okay, so those are kind of the advantages that you see on a daily basis. I had a thing where, when right around 2016, 2017, Trump got elected the first time and the IPCC report came out, which I usually skim those and go through the sort of the review of the report. And I started getting what I would call like gas anxiety. Like when I would go fill up my truck and I would put 20 gallons of gas in my vehicle, I would get this really crazy anxiety, and I still get it, though I have to fill my truck up maybe 4 or 5 times a year now, not once a week, which was how it was. But yeah, it was real, and it was powerful, and even when I would go to the grocery store, for example, before I really started biking in a serious way, um, every time I would turn the motor on, I would just feel this dread, and I don't, it's obviously not reasonable, but it's real.
Sure.
Um, but that was, that and sort of the environmental angle played together for me to really make up my mind for a lot of the trips I make. Unless I really need to use a car, I'm on the bike every time. So next sort of thing we usually talk about is the sacrifices of life by bike, which are also real, like we're talking about. And I'll let you sort of start, and what we've already talked about is sort of shrinking your circle a little bit, and your sort of field of travel on a daily basis. But what do you see as the other sort of sacrifices that we make in doing this?
Other sacrifices we make. Um, Why don't you give me one?
Well, an example is I used to love going up and surfing at Cardiff, and I would go up there every single weekend.
Gotcha.
Um, and that's a 30, 35, 40-minute drive, depending, and it's a considerable distance, probably 20, 25 miles. And I don't do that anymore. It's something when I do make it up there, I'll go up there once a year, maybe to go up to Cardiff and surf on a really good day. But most of the time I can still go surfing and stuff on my bike down at, Sunset Cliffs or Mission Beach or places like that, and have actually more fun because I don't have the guilt or the anxiety from getting in the car. And also when I roll up on the bike with the panniers and the wetsuit and the board and all that stuff, a lot of people are doing that now. It's become really commonplace, which is fantastic, but it just adds to my experience too. When I'm riding, I usually go down Mission Valley and I'll ride down the trail along the 8 with my surfboard at 5:30 in the morning, and it's just this, it adds to the experience so much. But I don't, shrank my circle to go surfing, so I don't surf at Cardiff as much
No,
anymore.
I get you. Um, I mean, I can't say I have. I can't really think of any
Too many too many
sacrifices other than just
sacrifices.
being tired. Like I said, I well, let me elaborate more why I'm so tired. I bike to work every day, down and back. Then I also host a Thursday run group, bicycle group, and we bike. It's a fast ride. It's a fast road
Yeah.
ride for those cyclists who are looking to take it to the next step.
Yeah.
So
And some of those rides are like 100 miles, right? I mean, you guys go.
yeah, it's a good distance, great pace, and very fast athletes that get out there. So I'm out there every Thursday leading the A group. I now started a Saturday morning fast paced road bike. So I'm dedicated to Thursdays and Saturdays. Those are 2 intensity days, plus my commute every day. I also go to run club once a week and 2 gym days. So it just my sacrifice.
Trying to live forever?
No, I'm still killing myself. uh, so when friends have like, hey, we're having a picnic, we're having a get together, we're going to the brewery, going to the bar, going to a festival, a show, a concert. A
Yeah.
lot of the times I'm like, it
Just the
I
time.
wake up Saturday morning, I'm leading the bicycle group. Thursday afternoon, I'm leading a fast paced bicycle group. I'm committed to a Monday run group, and not only am I committed those days, but I'm also committed to be rested,
Yeah.
and mental clarity. I have to eat well. I have to be hydrated, so I have to be careful with my drinking and
Yeah.
what junk food I eat. So I'd say that's my sacrifice.
Yeah.
It's just always being ready to go hard, ready to lead a group, ready to socialize, ready to.
Dude, and you're not 19.
And I'm not, not anymore.
Wow. That's impressive. I can't even imagine having all of that in my weekly to-do list. That's amazing.
So, yeah, I would say
That's a lot.
that's my sacrifice.
Well, cool. So we talked a little about Nice and Easy and sort of the various other groups. I'd like to sort of uh, describe, not really describe, but just sort of put that out there for people, and not necessarily to get more people at Nice and Easy rides, but to inspire other people to organize similar social rides like that. Like, how did that start? Like when you started out Nice and Easy, it wasn't as simple as just doing an Instagram post. It was basically drawing together a group of people to start with, and then just getting the ball rolling in the beginning. Like, how does that work exactly?
Like you said, it's tricky. I would say after COVID, as we all know, we weren't allowed to socialize. We weren't
Yeah.
allowed to go outside. Businesses were closed, and we all went through it, so we know what it was like. And following even just a couple of years after COVID, when I started Nice and Easy, um, people are still anxious to get outside, to get sunshine, to socialize, meet people. Uh, we realized what was taken for granted.
Mm-hmm.
We all of a sudden we couldn't go outside with our friends and we couldn't go running and biking.
So it came out of COVID, out of like just that. That's interesting.
I also started a run club in Ocean Beach in the midst of COVID, and I was living out there at the time. And that blew up very quickly as well.
Hmm.
Just young people who want to go outside and socialize. We realize how important that is to our lives, how important that is to our mental health. Um, and I think it was easy to reach out via Instagram and say, "Hey, we're gonna get together. We're gonna go run. We're gonna get fresh air,
Yeah.
and we're gonna socialize." And people instantly reacted to it. So after that successful run club in Ocean Beach, my girlfriend and I moved out here to Miller Park, and I wanted to I wanted to start. It's been in the back burner for many years to create this bicycle group where we biked to a couple of breweries, and I thought this was a perfect opportunity
Yeah.
to be back here in North Park and test it out.
Yeah.
Sure enough, it blew up, and
Yeah.
I think it's just yeah, just after COVID, people really wanted to get out, socialize, do what they couldn't.
This this town is built for that too. Like if you've never been to San Diego, like the weather's always great. There's certain parts of town that are easily accessible by bike. You know, we can be from here downtown in 15 minutes. Plus, there's all kinds of breweries and fun stuff up here to do. Um, you know, the infrastructure in places is sketchy. There are patches where you're in danger, but you know, for the most part, we can get around and we can do those things, and we can really have a variety of stuff that we can experience, you know, in this part of town by bike, which is fantastic.
The last 5 years, San Diego has been implementing millions of dollars into the infrastructure, just like you said.
Yeah.
And I also thought this is a perfect opportunity.
Yeah.
Because not only do we now have a good significant amount of bicycle infrastructure, it's going to keep going. It's going to keep improving. It's going to keep growing. And when those patches that you're talking about are going to are slowly going to be connected.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah. That's the thing, is the connections.
And yeah, it's like not only can we have a relatively more safer group ride on those designated bike lanes that are protected, and get to a brewery or a business relatively safe and back is awesome. Because just 5-8 years ago, there was no bicycle infrastructure, and
Yeah.
you just had to
There's definitely still a long way to go. But it's certainly gotten a lot better. Yeah. Yeah. And that'll we'll sort of do the show us your whip, and we'll look at your bike in a little bit, but let's talk a little bit about safety and but we'll get a little bit into infrastructure, but I think um, for our purposes, bicycle safety is like the main reason why it's the main objection people have to riding bikes for transportation, and that's why they want to drive cars, because they feel protected. And that remains, you know, that's not going to go away anytime soon, and we're, you know, working on, you know, building the infrastructure out so people feel safe. But the infrastructure that you ride on every day, do you feel it sounds like you feel like you ride down Pershing, I think, every day, and that's sort of your route to work. Is the rest of your route relatively safe and protected like that, or is
No,
that
just out of the 5 miles, maybe just the first mile
is safe?
The rest is just not regular roads with no any kind of bicycle infrastructure.
Yeah.
I consider myself an aggressive rider, so I'm used to I can take on
Yeah.
roads that are relatively safe, but
For people that are less experienced and less of a strong, you know, rider, you're a super strong rider. That's obviously a concern, and getting those people involved, and you know, there's a certain amount of physical fitness that you need to even start doing this life by bike, even on an e-bike, you need to have a certain level of physical fitness, which is obvious, but the safety part of it, when you ride aggressively and you have the ability to ride fast, or if you're on an e-bike that has the performance there, and you can get out of the way and you can get out of situations maybe a little easier, I think that actually makes you more safe. But getting to the certain level of physical fitness, so you can start, and then also getting the miles under your belt, so you're comfortable on the road, and you know how to, establish yourself in the lane, for example, so you're not sort of veering around potholes and getting clipped, or avoiding doors and seeing those types of things coming. Do you have any, like, I don't know, what we're trying to do is sort of mine people for information, and talk about how we get everybody there in the quickest possible time frame.
Yeah. I like when I ride with a new friend who is learning how to navigate themselves through roads and San Diego in general. I always I always say to ride aggressive. Now,
Use your bell a lot, right?
use your bell, like use your hand signals,
Yeah.
take over the lane. I think a lot of newbies, uh, they look vulnerable and scared. And when a cyclist looks vulnerable and scared on the road, drivers feel more aggressive. And oh, this is when the driver sees a cyclist who is kind of way to the right or
Riding in the gutter. Yeah.
the driver will take advantage of that.
Yeah.
They'll take advantage of
Close
being
pass.
scared, and they'll ride close to you. They'll accelerate and not care. What I mean by riding aggressively, I mean owning the road, owning your side of the road,
Yeah.
owning your bike lane. When you approach a stop sign, you're right in the center. You're not all the way to the right. You're right in the center. You're visible to all traffic, to the full intersection. Um, you're not going to move so that cars actually go around you,
Right.
rather than try to
Through you. Yeah.
right through you. So right aggressive is my
It's funny, like when I say it, establish yourself in the lane, a lot of people like look at me and they're like, "Are you crazy?" Like, and I'm like, "No, listen. This is what this is actually safer, and there's I don't know that there's data actually to back that up, but there certainly should be. There's certainly a lot of, most experienced riders, like you say, are riding more aggressively. They're you know, and you don't have to be a dick about it. You want to get out of the way. If somebody wants to make a right turn, and there's a bunch of a line of cars that are just making a right turn, you just move over to the left a little bit so they can get by. Like, you still want to be courteous on the road, but at the same time, don't look scared, even if you are. But I think that's really, really good information and good advice. So with you ride some pretty nice bikes. Your get around bike is the GT, which is super cool, old school. With security and there's a lot of different stuff even in San Diego that we have to deal with, whether it's locking your bike up and figuring out ways, places to park and ways to lock up and things to lock to, and also weather protection and other stuff that we have to deal with. Do you have like a protocol for security first? Most of us use like a U-bolt lock. Some of us have alarms and tiles and stuff like that.
yeah. So I have multiple bikes for that reason. I have my GT, which is a 1994 um, steel frame mountain bike, and it's one of my favorite bikes. It's one of the bikes it's the bike that I use for nice and easy. It's the bike that I use to ride to the gym, to the grocery store. It's not the one I ride to work, but It's a bike that I can lock up confidently around town with a U-lock. I like U-locks.
Yeah, me too.
And I won't be devastated if parts are missing or if the entire bike gets stolen.
Has that happened before?
No,
Not on that
actually,
one.
not
Good.
here. I've had bikes stolen before, but not here in North Park.
Yeah.
Thankfully, not him. Yeah, so I ride a different. If I'm going to a nice and easy where I'm going to be leaning my bike next to a brewery, I bring a bike that that I still love, but I won't be devastated if it's
Yeah.
it's gone. And then I have my carbon road frame road bikes that live inside my room.
You won't even let your girlfriend be alone in the room with it, right?
And then I have my work bike, which is another a road bike that I lock up at work. And so I have multiple bikes for different occasions.
Yeah.
I know most people like to have just one bike, and they maybe invest a lot of money into that one bike. So they have a lot of anxiety locking it up, or maybe they don't want to take it to certain places because they're scared of losing it.
Yeah.
So my advice is more bikes.
Have a bar bike, right?
A bar bike.
Have a fancy bike and then a bar bike.
Yes, absolutely.
No, that's good
So
advice.
that's my combat to not getting my my heart broken for getting a bike stolen. And as far as safety, I like U-locks. I also have a zipper. It's like it looks like a zip tie, but it's actually a bike lock. It has a little lock on it. It's very fragile. You could probably snap it with some bolt cutters, but it just gives me peace of mind when I'm not. It's my carbon frame bike when I'm riding with the group, and just I'll zip it up next to the coffee shop.
Nice and light.
Even though I'm just a few feet away from it. It's just a piece of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I recommend people having at least a couple bikes just for different occasions.
Yeah. And a garage for that matter too, right?
Plus having more bikes, it's more, the more fun it is, the more you ride, the better you get at riding. So people might get bored of just one bike.
What I don't know about you, but I like working on bikes. Like it's not something that I ever went to school for, but it's something that I've learned along the way. And just picking up a new bike and getting it all fixed up and dialed in, and then even if you sell it in a year's time or whatever, I tend to cycle through bikes every couple of years. And I find that incredibly satisfying. You just find some beater that somebody has completely let go and is in disrepair, and you can bring this thing back and make it really cool again for a relatively little amount of money. It's not like you're spending thousands of dollars most of the time. And it just brings a smile to somebody's face, hopefully, when they use it, in the future. I get a lot out of that sort of thing too.
So,
so do you like often ride in the rain around here and in the weather and stuff like that, as little of that as we get?
I do. When I commute to work, even if it rains, I'll still commute to work in the rain, unless it's heavy. Then it can get quite dangerous, and just cars in general. Cars' windshields aren't really clear. They're not really, the cars don't have full vision. Plus, getting to work all soaked is not so great. But if it's drizzling, I'll put on a nice rain jacket and still head.
Yeah.
No time.
Yeah, I find, I usually keep a raincoat handy, but I've started to carry a poncho, like a bicycle poncho, which, here in San Diego, we have probably 300 days of sunshine, another 20 of rain, and then another, 40 or so in between.
Yeah.
Any of the rainy or in between times, I keep my poncho in, and I probably use that 10 times a year, and it packs up this big. It weighs about a quarter of a pound, and it's saved me so many times. And it's just a nice little add to the kit.
I don't mind riding home wet, as long as I'm not riding to work wet.
Yeah.
I can ride back home. I can be soaked and get in the shower, change.
Better you than me. Um, so we talk through the safety stuff. Do you have any bike sort of stories that you find would be instructive, or you know, because this is all about helping other people get to the same place, you know, where if we can tell people stories and sort of instructive or otherwise, just inspirational stuff about, you know, your journey to doing this, or specific experiences that you've had. Do you have anything like that you'd like to share?
Um, you know, it's kind of why it started nice and easy is to sort of attract the community first, attract the community to cycling. After they start cycling a little bit, they start to meet other people within the community
Mhm.
who might be a little bit more advanced, and they'll invite them to a bike ride. And then because they got invited to a bike ride, they may get motivated to buy a better bike or
Yeah,
maybe a road bike
progress.
on this longer journey with their new friends.
Yeah,
And I love seeing the progress of complete newbies to expert road cyclists or
yeah,
mountain bikers, whatever
yeah.
whatever tribe they choose.
That is cool.
I do have a cool story of a new friend who I've met um, through Nice and Easy. Uh, I won't say his name, but our a mutual friend invited him to a Nice and Easy ride. He had gone through a divorce, and he didn't seem very happy to be there at Nice and Easy. I could tell he was just not into it, but he was dragged into it by a mutual friend. And he was borrowing a townie bike that wasn't his size. He wasn't comfortable on it. It was just, I wasn't even sure why he showed up, but he came out. And a couple of months later, he kept coming out for whatever reason. He might have met a couple of good friends, but he kept coming out. And every time he came
It's good
out,
vibes.
he had a little bit, he seemed to enjoy himself a little bit more
Mhm.
each time. About around the like seventh or eighth month, almost, almost a year, he showed up with the new bike. He showed up with the new bike, and our mutual friend said he bought it just to come to Nice and Lucy. And he ended up meeting a few friends out in Nice and Lucy, and they invited him over to a longer bike ride on the weekend. And little by little, I saw him. He got new shoes, he got clipped in,
Mhm.
road bike, new helmet. Then he got a kit, and now I see him on Instagram. He's out, riding around on the weekends,
Killer.
50-mile rides, 100-mile days, and I just love seeing that progress
That's awesome.
to an export. And that's what Nice and Easy is kind of all about, is to get the community interested in cycling. And once they meet more people in the community, once the cycling community, they start learning about all the other tribes that cycling has to offer, such as gravel, riding on gravel, mountain biking. We have the San Diego Velodrome. That has a great program. Um, I now host a Saturday road ride. We do 50 miles every Saturday morning, and obviously Nice and Easy. So you have this community that has all the tribes. You got the trike cycling, the gravel riding, the mountain bikers, the roadies, and we got the fixie riders.
It is a diverse group, and I like the coffee rides too that you guys do. That's awesome. That's like a ride where you bring everything that you need to make your coffee out in, out in nature, or out wherever you guys ride to, and a little burner, and your press, or however. That's a really cool, getting people into, bike camping, I get that. That's so cool.
So yeah, that funnel. It's like a funnel. Nice and Easy is like a funnel. Yeah, you put everybody on top, and then it funnels into like a more experienced, more experienced rider. Hopefully.
Yeah, no, that's really inspiring.
Yeah.
Um, so with all of that said, the goal is to get more people doing this.
Yes.
Do you see there's a lot we could say here about how we get more people to do it, whether it's safety and infrastructure is probably the main thing that would really help in a exponential way relatively quickly if they actually made the investments in the bicycle infrastructure and the road safety for cyclists. That's really how we get where we need to be very, very quickly. But do you see any other sort of more individualized hacks that we can use to get more people, number one, interested, and number two, get them through that funnel so we can just get more people out of cars and onto bikes?
Yeah, just like you mentioned earlier, how do we get more people to organize things like Nice and Easy? It doesn't have to be the same model as Nice and Easy, but um, how we just when people see a group of cyclists,
Just numbers.
people get interested.
Yeah.
Um, and it's just a matter of what us motivating other people.
Yeah, it's exposure and inspiring, it's exposure and just trying to inspire people, which is what we're trying to do, round and round and round.
I find great leverage with businesses. Businesses already have a great social media platform or some kind of platform in general.
Yeah.
And when we support a business and they see the light with when they partner up with cycling communities.
Yeah.
They put us on a spotlight, and like I said, they already have a platform on social media. So when you help a business out, when you support a business, and they include you into their social media, it exposes all the people they have on their people that follow them.
Yeah,
it's great. I have found it to be a great way to leverage exposure.
Yeah. And you can collaborate with all types of businesses. Like, it doesn't have to be bars and stuff either. There's all kinds of other businesses that you can collaborate with and leverage each other's, followers and whatever the case may be. That's interesting. That's interesting. And so just sort of to wrap up at this point, do you have anybody that you would like to give a shout out to platform who you think would be a good in this sort of interview setting that would have a lot of really key knowledge or something to really add to the conversation?
Yeah.
Good. Just a list, I'm sure, because you're tied in with that community so tightly. But
my partner is in with Nice and Easy, Johnny, his girlfriend, and my good friend Nico, his girlfriend Bobby. They are at it every day. They're on their bikes every day as well.
Yeah.
They do 130 mile bike rides on the weekends. They host Cranky Thursdays here at Sig Brewery. They host the B Group. Nico helps me with Nice and Easy, and he also hosts his own Wednesday ride called the Pretzel Ride. And these are just people that are on the bikes every day, day in, day out.
Yeah.
Practically live on the saddle.
Yeah.
So, I'll give them a shout out.
Yeah, totally.
Bobby and Nico. They're great people.
Well, I'll get their contact info and I will be in touch because, we're trying to, like I say, just sort of get in there. Everybody has sort of a different story and a different approach and a different kit and just different ways that they can make this happen in their own particular world. And all of that is really valuable to different people coming from different directions. So yeah, as many people as we can sort of talk to and interview and get that information from is really useful. So let's take a look at your bike.
Sure.
We're just gonna show us your whip. So what is it? Takeda? Is that the model?
Takesta.
Takasta.
Takesta. It's a GT 1994 GT Takesta.
Nice.
And it's got a 1-bike conversion.
relatively simple bike, fat tires, rim brakes, everything you need, nothing you don't.
Yeah, nice.
No, that's really cool. I kind of copied you with the rack up here. I love sort of the Porter rack. Just you can carry as as much as is reasonable on a bike like this. I had a GT sort of road bike back in the day that actually ended up getting stolen, but I've always loved that sort of frame design and the rear triangle. Yeah,
That's the thing.
so this is your bar bike. This is a pretty nice bar bike, though.
Bar bike. Nice and easy bike. Just
Yeah.
light gravel, great on the road. Go to the grocery store, get some groceries, go to the gym.
Yep. Yep.
What's the difference between this back tire and the front one?
So the back one is more for like doing jumps and tricks and stuff at the skate
Like a BMX almost.
BMX. What year of course? And then the front was more for road. Well, it's just tough stuff. You know,
Super cool.
that I had laying around.
And yeah, just a simple bike. I mean, that's all you need to really do 90% of what we do. Just to get around, pick up some stuff at the store, be safe. You know, I tend to go a little bit crazier, with lights and accessories and stuff like that, speakers and all that stuff, just because, with my commute, it's 30, 35 miles every day. So it's a significant amount of time in the saddle, where yours is kind of split up. I'm like on that bike all the time. So I sort of concentrate more on all that, but cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, keeping it simple. Dig it.
Sure.
Right?
Thanks for having me.
Dude, thank you so much.